Good afternoon guys, today I'm gonna show you how to build. I'm gonna tell you why he is the best, if not the best CEO in the entire game. Call me simple if you want, but I think vanilla is a great flavor. Anyway, I'm gonna fix your skill issue today, but first, I'm gonna teach you why you should play Will. First thing first, he has a banger CEO then, probably the best one in Advanced Wars Days of Reunion. He also is very easy to play, very easy to pilot, and if you like tanks go brrr, like Max, Jess, you like those type of CEOs, then you are definitely gonna enjoy playing Will. He's also a very fair and balanced CEO. Pretty much he stands on a very average win rate of 50% right now. He is also just the best. Well, let's talk about Will's strengths. First thing first, he has a boarding cost of 50%, which means it's gonna cost you half the unit you want to load it. He also has a sun's radius of 2 with an expansion of 3 at 60 energy, and his super CEO power is at 60 energy. His day-to-day gives all units in CEO zone a plus 10% firepower and defense, and all his ground direct units inside the zone will gain a 20% firepower increase. And his super CEO power Rally Cry gets a plus 2 movement to all these units that I mentioned earlier. Now, what units are those? Direct ground units, so infantry, mechs, bike, recon, flares, anti-air tank, medium tank, and war tank. All these units will have a 30% firepower and a 10% defense. His CEO unit, thanks to the veteran status, is gonna gain 50% firepower and 30% defense. The rest will have the normal 10% firepower and defense. You want to focus your army mostly on these units, but I would recommend that only buy recon and flares if you're planning to use them on Fog of War, and war tank is very slow, so maybe don't buy that one. Also, these are some units that you should also consider to buy too: rigs, transport copters, and gunboats, because you have a playstyle that involves a lot of infantry or mechs, so you may want to build at least one of these to actually make them hit the front lines quicker. And battlecopters is in general a unit that you want to buy anyway. You want battlecopters to harass units outside your zone and inside your zone, so that they can harass some vehicles, interrupt some captures, and maybe even help you achieve some wall breakings anyway. Now, what you should CEO unit will? These are the 3 best units in my opinion to CEO will: bikes, tanks, and recons. In my opinion, the best one is tank, but let's talk about the other ones too. The bike CEO unit is very cheap and it's very affordable anyway, and it's also just a bike, so if you lose your CEO unit, you can pretty much say, oh, it's just a bike, I lost an infantry. And it's very good in the early game too, especially versus CEOs that like to load into cheap stuff, like Foresight, Cyrus, all those big CEO zone CEOs that want to load into cheap stuff and get that zone quicker. Bike CEO unit is really good against them too, and it can help you achieve some wall breaks, because it can still one-hit KO some units that are left behind a little bit wounded. Or you can also sack some wounded units to achieve the wall break anyway with your bike CEO unit. It also frees one of your tanks, so they can capture some properties too. Because it frees one tank, you can also have one tank more for your super CEO power Rally Cry. It has some disadvantage though. It's very weak unit, the bike in general, so it's gonna die very easy to 2-hit KOs, and it may even die to one single anti-air sometimes, if they have some kind of firepower increase. He also has 5 movement with tire speed, which means it's slower than a tank, -1 over the tank, and it's going to be very slow in woods and wastelands. You want to load this on a bike if the map has a lot of road and plain, and because it's an infantry unit, it could also be a little bit busy capturing stuff later in the game. Now, the recon CEO unit is relatively cheap, costing at 6k, so it's really cheap, and it has a whopping 8 movement, 2 more over the tank, and I have the same machine gun damage as the tank, and has some Fog of War utility that you can definitely use. It's a good early game capture interruption, because it's so cheap. You can pretty much load you CEO in the recon by turn 2 or 3 if you have the economy for that. and same as the bike, you freeze one of your tanks for the Super CO power. Now, it's not perfect, it has some disadvantages too. For example, it's very weak. It's gonna be 2-hit KO very easy, so you may want to cover him a lot. Sometimes it can even be 1-hit KO or some stuff. He also has Stairs A, which means even though it has a movement, it's gonna move only 4 if the map is a lot of planes. You might want to load him on a recon only if you have a lot of roads so that he can move and zoom the map a lot. Now, Tank C unit on the other hand is relatively cheap for what it offers, and it's pretty much the most solid option. It's very versatile for that. It has a lot of movement on assisting at 6, which is pretty much the standard for most units. It's gonna demolish anything on the ground if you first strike with it, and has the machine gun just like the recon, and it can 1-hit KO infantry if it has at least 10% or less defense, guaranteed. If the infantry has a little bit more, it's gonna be a little bit more of a coin flip if you one-shot it or not, but most of the time you're pretty much gonna one-shot any infantry that is gonna be on a plane, for example. It also has some disadvantage though, it's not perfect. It can get 2-hit KO by tanks, or tank plus battlecopter, tank plus mech. Anything that is it's not perfect. It's gonna get 2-hit KO anyway. Also, you want to put him on defensive terrain to maybe avoid this, but it's not guaranteed. It's also very weak versus battlecopters. Battlecopters pretty much are gonna demolish tanks, so you want to avoid a loading wheel on a side that has an airport, for example. And also it's one less tank for rally cry, so because your CO unit is weighted, you will not have another tank doing your Super CO power. And why not the other units? Well, Flare are weaker than a recon, and for the price to load him on a recon 7.5k is a lot of money. You can buy a tank with that money. It's also very slow compared to the tank. It's 1 movement less and 3 movement less than a recon. And the anti-air is a really good unit for wall breaking. It's gonna one-shot any foot soldier most of the time, but keep in mind that anti-air inside zone is gonna do that anyway. The only advantage it has over the tank is pretty much that it's immune to battlecopters, but it's gonna be weak to anything else. Infantry mechs are too slow for your playstyle, so I recommend avoid these ones anyway. And the war tank is just too slow and expensive to load him into. And the medium tank is pretty much not the best option in my opinion. It has a lot of survivability, yes, but it's 1 less movement over the regular tank, and it's really expensive. You need to spend 18k to load him into a medium tank. If you're gonna buy a medium tank, I recommend you to use him for your rally cry instead. Now, chapter 3, some wheel matchups. I highly advise that if you're gonna play wheel, ban Calder, because he's gonna demolish you, man. Calder has a 2-zone radius, he has no zone expansion or Super CO power, but he has a really strong zone of 20% firepower and 20% defense. He's gonna match up your attack, and his defense is very high, and on top of that he gets a +2 HP every turn, costing him funds. So I highly advise you that if you are gonna play wheel, ban Calder. He's the premium wall CO. If you can fight him on a small skirmisher, because he's just gonna heal up the damage and eat you alive with that strong day to day. He's gonna deny you having some expansions. Now let's talk about Werner. Werner is another matchup that you may want to avoid because his zone is bigger and he has the same defense as you on firepower. And you will say then it's a balanced matchup. It isn't, because he has a zone bigger. You have a 2-zone versus a 3-zone, which means he's gonna cover most units than the ones that you can shoot. So you are gonna pretty much all the time just gonna fight units with no day to day, because his units just get so much defense. And if he gets reinforcement, which is his Super CO power, he's just gonna heal up any damage that you did with Rally Cry anyway. Let's talk about wall breaking. Now, this part of the video I'm gonna give you some tips and guidelines to do some wall breaking. So now let's talk about wall breaking. I'm just gonna give you a short guide about wall breaking with Will and nothing more. Don't treat this like an ultimate wall breaking guide. If you want an ultimate wall breaking guide, make sure to like this video and I may even do it. So let's see first thing first. Will see a unit can one-shot infantry as I said back. I have a wounded infantry here. I'm gonna try to kill this tank over here and this artillery over here. How I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna sack this infantry over here so that my tank over here can one-shot this other tank. Now I open a little hole in this position over here, and let's take advantage of that to hit KO most of this stuff over here. The infantry, the CO unit enemy is exposed, so we can to hit KO. I recommend that if you are doing this, always kill the CO unit first. Now I can attack this artillery, leave it really bad, and let's continue with our overbreak. I'm gonna try to aim to kill this anti-air over here. I'm gonna first strike over here. I said with a tank over here. No, that one no. This one over here. And now we can attack this anti-air and leave it pretty much useless now. And let's do a little wall here to prevent our opponent to try to kill it. I'm gonna do it with a tank so that this tank is less exposed. And we're gonna take this over here and let's put our anti-air over here on the back to protect our stuff. Let's move our medium tank over here. I'm doing this mostly so that I can draw some attention from these barrelcopters to over here. This is on the simulation tool, so always simulate your turns if you can, especially if you're gonna do this, mostly for this reason. Now that I finished my wall break, I'm gonna build some stuff, some anti-air and some tanks, and I'm gonna simulate my opponent's turn. Now over here I can load back, and my goal here is to kill my opponent's CO unit because he's gonna get power next turn and I can stop it. And if I can't stop it, I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna shoot at this tank over here and finish up with my CO unit, and I'm gonna try to weak this barrelcopter so that I can kill it with my own barrelcopter. That wouldn't work. Let's go with a different approach. Now I don't want to give him veterancy because then it's gonna be harder to kill it, but I guess I don't have many options now. I guess that's my best bet, trying to... Now it's kind of possible to do it. Yeah, we do it with a little bit of luck. And now we need to find a way to kill this wall of tanks. Let's try to get some expansion first, so that we can have that extra defense. I'm gonna go directly to attack it with my barrelcopter here. We have some expansion now. We can try to first strike over here. And now this infantry over here, I think the best option I can do is move it down first. That way we can now go over here, pull this thing back, we go over here and pretty much first strike these guys over here. But there's a problem. Even if I do this, I cannot reach this tank, so we may want to go for another direction. Now from over here, what we could try is to kill this barrelcopter. There is a hole over here that we can take advantage from, but there's another luck roll there, another luck roll check. We need a 4, So let's assume that we can go away with our luck, and let's say that we roll high on this roll over here, just on that one. He needs at least a 4, so it's not that difficult. Now from over here, we need to kill this infantry, this tank, and also this tank. No, just this tank. Just this tank. It's kind of difficult, honestly. He need another roll for this one to one-shot it. So let's assume that again we have best luck possible and we one-shot this tank over here. Oh, actually, it's not even that. Oh, even with max luck we can do it. Interesting. So I assume it's not possible to wall break back and kill the tank. So wall break is perfect. We should definitely try it. In any case, that's pretty much the end of this video, guys. Thank you again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to see a little bit more of Will, maybe some Super CO power usage, you can definitely go check my Will Point X video. You can also follow me on my social media, and I'm streaming on Twitch and on YouTube right now. And if you want to check, you can definitely go and hop in. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Also, Tiny Wars was down a few days ago, and I just want to let you guys know that Tiny Wars is back. So if you have to make another new account. It's the same site. Everything is being repaired because they suffer. The servers got hacked, and it's on repair right now. But most of the maps have been recovered, and you can go back and play. And I will see you guys on Ranked. Bye bye.